Riley here with Eric Vincent for
Yeah.
your favorite Detroit sports show, Beyond the Box. We have got a night planned for you. There's a ton of news out there about the Lions potentially trading or being involved in a huge trade on draft night. We got Hendon Hooker visiting Motown this week, and we want to break down the best NFL draft prospect, according to us and a lot of people, Will Anderson. We're going to watch some highlights, get into some of his tape, and talk to you about all of that tonight. Eric, you ready?
I'm ready, man. Let's go to
I'm
it. Let's
ready
get
too.
it.
Before we jump into it, I just want to remind you about Super Stickers and Super Chat, the fun and interactive way to interact with us. Send us messages and stickers that stand out from the crowd while supporting the show. Just click that $sign, follow the instructions, and let's grow this Detroit sports community together. I also quickly want to remind you that down below the screen right there, there's going to be gearupdetroit.shop gear. Make sure you hop on that train and gear up for your next Detroit sports event. Here's what we have. We've got Will Anderson. We've got Hendon Hooker. We've got a potential trade, and we are ready to get after it. You ready to go, Eric?
Let's do it, man.
Let's do it,
Showtime.
baby. Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. We have got Hendon Hooker, the injured Tennessee quarterback, visiting Motown and the Detroit Lions. How do you feel about Hooker coming in for an interview?
I'm excited about it. I don't want to say excited. Let me not say excited. I like Hendon Hooker as a player. I don't know if I'm excited about this news, but I do appreciate the news because what the Lions are doing is something that you talked about last live that we just had last week, where we said the Lions don't need to be tipping their head on what they're trying to do. So at this point, they're just making sure, as Troy Weaver from the Detroit Pistons like to say, we're making sure we're not leaving any stones unturned. So what are they doing? They're going through, looking at free agents. They just talked about bringing in Teddy Bridgewater. Apparently, they're bringing in Hendon Hooker to talk to
A
for
strong
the
deal
interview.
on the table for him.
Yeah, strong deal as they've confirmed it. They're just taking a look at everything. I mean, again, we're going to talk about Will Anderson as well. You know, they brought him in for an interview. So they're going through all their options on what it would take to build and put this team in the best position possible to win. And I like it. This is what good teams do. They're not out here making it obvious about what they're trying to do. They're keeping all their options on the table. This is what successful franchises do. I'm all for it.
I like it. I've liked Hooker since let me say it a different way. I've liked Hendon Hooker since I was a little upset to see him get injured last season. A little bit. No. And not at all. And the injury was devastating because, I mean, this guy last season, let me just throw a few stats at you, okay, from Hendon Hooker last year. 69.2% completion percentage, 3,100 yards, 27 touchdowns, 2 interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's good. 123 passer rating. Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of people will tell you that Tennessee's offense was a bit gimmicky, and that kind of hurts him as a draft prospect potentially. Mm-hmm. But he throws a great deep ball. We've been talking about deep balls on this show often.
Yes.
Somebody's got to get the ball to J-Mo down the field.
Yep.
I believe that Goff can if he gets a little bit more accurate, but he may not be here in 3 years. Hendon Hooker can. I have some concerns, though. ACL, definitely concern. However, he doesn't have to play this year.
Right.
So that doesn't, that really doesn't matter to me. He's also 25, which is a bit old. Like, you compare him to Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson's like 21. I think.
Yeah.
Like, that's a significant difference, good or bad, right? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it, but I am excited that he's coming in because, as we've said multiple times, quarterback's definitely on the table for the Lions in the draft. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's going to happen. Where it's going to happen is going to be the big question mark. Does it
Right.
happen at 6? Does it happen at 18?
Ugh.
Does it happen at 48 or 55? Or does it happen at 81? If you're talking about Hooker, you're looking hopefully in the 2nd or 3rd round.
Right.
Some people I heard talking about taking him at 18. And I'm sitting here thinking, no.
Nah, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. No, not at all. And and that's why if you are gonna go for an Anthony Richardson at 6, the people believe his ceiling is a lot higher than a Hendon Hooker. And the age to an extent does bother me as well, because like you said, if he's hurt and you have a team that's looking to win right now, and you have a quarterback that's looking to win right now, you don't know how long he's going to be on the bench for. And if he was looking to, play like full time at some point, it might not be the case for him, especially if, the Lions do fall in love with Goff and give him the money and extension he's looking for. The quarterback situation is very murky for this team. But again, I like at the very least that they're keeping all options on the table as far as what they're looking for.
Hold on, let's explore that for a second. What do you mean by the quarterback situation's a bit murky for this team? I don't think it's murky. Jared Goff's the quarterback.
Okay, as of right now. So let me say
for the next
future
2 years,
outlook.
For the next 2 years, he's a quarterback.
Yes. Sure, means,
but go ahead.
I'm just saying after that, it's a toss-up in terms of what they want to do. Whether you're talking to the front office, the fans, I don't think anybody is set on what the Lions are supposed to be doing and what they should be doing after these next 2 years of the position.
Right. Which means that if you do draft Hooker, by the time he's ready to start,
I'm childish.
I mean, I didn't say fan of Hooker this time. I said if you draft Hooker, which is legitimately his name, Eric.
You gotta explain yourself. It's okay.
Apparently, I do to the 7-year-old sitting across from me here. But if you draft Hendon Hooker, then by the time he's ready to start, he's going to be 28 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Well, by the time you could potentially move him to starting, if you ride out Jared Goff's contract, he will be 28 years old. That's not insignificant by any stretch of the imagination.
No, it's not.
It could play well into his favor. There's the maturity aspect. There's the fact that he's considered to be a student of the game. Like, those are the things that get tossed around, which is great, but I don't know. C. Perry here says, I'm hearing if Richardson is on the board at 6, the Ravens are trading the Lions to move up. I'm not taking that trade.
I'm not taking that trade.
Do you know why I'm not taking that trade, C.
Why
Perry?
would you?
Because the Ravens are picking at 23. I'm not moving back that far. They can't offer me enough. They would have to offer me a significant amount of draft capital in order for me to go back 17 spots behind my next first round pick.
Exactly.
Hear all you want. I don't know who you're hearing it from. That'd be a bad deal for the Lions.
Horrible deal. That's not what you want to do. And yeah, especially if you're moving past your next first rounder, there's nothing that would make sense out of that. Why are the fans so hell-bent on drafting a player that will have zero impact on the field this year? Because I think people are still worried about to me, I've been saying it all offseason. I think people are looking at this team wrong. I think they're closer than they realize. So this being bent over a player that may or may not play this season or right away this season, I don't think that's a necessity for this team to start winning. And that's why I've said things I said. That's why I believe the rebuild is done, because they're making win now moves. That's why I believe you can make stash and draft or draft and stash kind of decisions in the draft, because you have a lot of the foundation set already, I believe. So yeah, I'm kind of with Chris on that one.
But I think it's kind of the MO. I don't think that Brad Holmes necessarily cares because of what he did to go get Jameson Williams last year. When he goes, that's a top of the first round draft pick that wouldn't be there if it wasn't for the injury. I'm going to go and get him. We've seen him do it before.
Right.
While Chris, I agree with you. I think that number 6 and number 18 need to be players that are able to start day one. And also why we are not suggesting that they take Hendon Hooker at 18. Because that would be crazy. These
Yes,
people are going
that would be
nuts, man.
yeah.
C. Perry's back and says Swift or Okuda and our pick number 6 for Lamar. It's not happening. Not with them just signing Odell Beckham. Lamar's going to be a Raven this year. I'm telling you. That move was
crippled
him and
Odell.
Lamar. Yeah,
that was such a whack
talk
move.
about last ditch effort, right?
That was such a whack move by Baltimore.
But there's no way. No one. I mean, apparently these two orchestrated this, and so
that's how they talked about it.
The irony of all ironies would be for the Ravens to now trade Lamar, but I don't think that's going to happen because then you just signed a 30-year-old receiver for absolutely zero reason.
Yeah, $15 million.
Yeah, nuts. With the possibility of it being 16. James says the Lions are set up to win now, and we agree with that. That's why we think that you have the ability and the affordability to, maybe draft something that is not on the field right away.
Yes.
Okay, Eric. There's other draft news that's coming out too.
Yes.
I want to talk about this. Adam Schefter earlier today said there's at least 6 teams that have been in contact and inquired with the Arizona Cardinals about trading up for the 3rd overall pick in the upcoming April 27th NFL draft, per league sources. Cardinals are still mulling whether to move the pick or make it.
Mm-hmm.
Are the Lions one of those 6 teams?
They gotta be. Reports are, I think I heard on 97.1 that they were one of the 6. And like I just said, I think it feels it's not a gamble bringing in Hendon Hooker to have an interview because I don't think they're gonna trade up to get him. You take him in the 2nd round or wherever he falls, that's not a gamble. So that's a safe move to make.
Yeah.
This is an aggressive move to make, and I absolutely love it. Because yes, if any team should be in that discussion, especially of those teams within the first 10 picks, the Lions have to be one of those ones at the main table. You have to be. You cannot let him slide if you have an opportunity to go get him. We don't know what it's going to cost. We just know Arizona is open to do business. So you have to be on that line. You better be talking to them every week, asking how they doing, mailing them gifts, sweet talking, do whatever you need to do. Text them good night. Keep in good graces to make sure this deal can get done on April 27th.
They absolutely have to be. When I heard the report, I heard that there was about a 50% chance the Lions were in. Maybe I wasn't listening long enough. Okay. And I haven't seen anything on Twitter that confirms that the Lions are in this, one of these 6 teams. However, yeah, they absolutely should be one of these 6 teams.
Yes.
And there's only one reason why they should be one of these 6 teams. Will Anderson Jr.
Yes.
It's the only reason you trade up. Mm-hmm. And I was playing around. What do you think it would cost to move from 6 to 3? Like, what would your scenario be?
Based on the resources, I don't think it's going to be a ton. I mean, you're obviously going to give up 6. You maybe give up a 3rd, maybe a 5th to go with it. And if you throw in, I believe Okuda is going to be a part of this deal if they do go.
Yeah, you did say that, which would lower the draft capital.
Right.
You've been on that for a few weeks.
So if you can at least give them a starter, someone that's serviceable, his deal's not expensive. It's only 1 year left on it. I think that's more than enough to get a deal like that done. And it will make sense too. You're not finessing them. I think it will make sense.
3 picks is what I came up with according to the draft value chart.
Okay.
6, 48, 81. So 1 second round and then your 3rd round.
Okay, that's fine.
Would you make that deal?
100. You said no players, so just those 3 picks, and then I get the number 3 and anything else back, or is it just the number 3?
Just number 3.
That's more than enough for Will.
So you would get 3. You would have 18, and then you'd have pick 55 in the 2nd round.
You're still sitting pretty, and you have the best player in the draft. That's a win. That's an absolute win.
So that's where I sit here and I play around with these scenarios, right? If you trade up to number 3 and you take Will Anderson, then that opens up the well at 18 for whatever you want. Yep. Joey Porter Jr.
Yeah.
Kajia Cansey. Whoever might be there, right? And then at 55 in the 2nd round, you take Hendon Hooker. And if you had a draft of Anderson, Cansey, and Hooker to start in your first 3 picks, that's a pretty good start.
Yeah.
You don't pick again until the 5th round. So you would miss the 3rd round and the 4th round, assuming that they don't make any other deal or get anything back.
Right.
That's not terrible.
No.
That's not terrible at all.
No.
And you got the best player in the draft. And you have to imagine. I was reading, I'm just like inundated with Will Anderson at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had the 2nd highest grade over the last 3 years in run defense, I believe it was. Do you know who he was second to?
Who's that?
Aiden Hutchinson.
Ah.
So imagine them.
There we go.
On the same defensive line. And oh, by the way, we can throw James Houston in there wherever we want to.
You can.
Maybe even move Houston to an outside backer if he were to, you know what I mean? Because I know they've got him listed as an OLB, but I don't know. The possibilities are endless.
They are. And again, this confirms that they're not resting. They're not content with just seeing what they can do. Brad Holmes has shown the ability to be aggressive. He's shown the ability of being conservative with free agent money, with, taking the right picks when you need them, or going up and getting aggressive with trading Matthew Stafford out the window, going up to get J-Mo. This will be the cherry on top. This may be better than all of those. I mean, he's put an imprint on just about every offseason that we've seen since he's taken over in the NFL. This would be the biggest splash without question. Hey, Ricky's back. What up, Ricky?
Ricky's back.
What up, man?
And I have no idea what he's talking about.
In a bag of better made. I don't. Oh, I think he's talking about what to give Arizona in a bag of better made chips. All right. They might like barbecue.
I mean, we could send them a Michigan gift basket and say, cool. Hey, here's some Verners. Here's some GearUpDetroit.shop gear.
Wow. Yes.
And here's some better made potato chips.
There it is.
I think that would work. But you got to get the better made original, but then also the better made barbecue, because the better made barbecue is really, really good.
The best of the batch. You got to sit a barbecue in there. We'll give it the Big Mac.
You put a little French onion dip on those barbecue chips, and that is a snack.
Oh, that's how you do it? Oh, okay. All
when I have French onion dip, that's not very often. But
we'll see.
I'm just saying.
Get at the draft and we'll talk about it.
I'm just saying it's a pretty doggone good snack.
I'll take your word for it.
Okay, so here's what we want to do. There's one reason why the Detroit Lions would even entertain trading up to number 3. That one reason is Will Anderson. There's no other reason. It's not Anthony Richardson. It's not Peter Skronsky. It's not Christian Gonzalez. It's not even Jalen Carter.
No.
There's one reason you trade up to number 3, and that one reason is number 31 from the Crimson Tide, who's the best player in this draft, bar none. So let's have some fun. We have a little highlight video of Mr. Will Anderson. I'm sure you've seen highlights of Mr. Will Anderson because he's a beast.
Indeed he is.
And we love Will Anderson. Now, here is the deal. We're going to watch this. We're going to react to it. Everybody toss your comments in there. We'll throw them up on screen as they come in. But this dude is legit. And we're going to talk about it. So without further ado, here's our highlights of Mr. Will Anderson.
Get your popcorn ready.
Get it ready.
Let's do it.
6'4". He actually grades out at weighed in at like 253. So he's even like bigger than this. I do want to give some props to Just Bombs Production. That's whose video we are watching right now. So I don't want you to think that we have like ripped them off. But this dude can hit. There's no doubt. Like, he was in the backfield before the running back even got the ball.
Yes. His burst off the line is absolutely ridiculous.
Look at that. Straight to him.
Straight line. That's not a dude you want to leave untouched.
No, and they did, which is ridiculous.
I don't know how you messed that up in the huddle.
How do you not block the best player on the field?
He has to be accounted for in every possible scenario.
I don't know, man. This guy, he's so good. He can beat people off the line. Now, obviously, NFL different speed, right? And this looks like they're playing Missouri. Missouri's like the lowest tier of SEC football. So that's not great. But, I mean, that dude didn't stand a chance.
No, not at all.
He didn't stand a chance at all. All right, this is against Texas. Look at him lined up. It looks like in the B technique, and then straight down the line. This is beautiful run. Like right off of the tackle's hip. Watch this back view. Right off the tackle's hip in a straight line. Whoosh. Right to the running back. Like, that's textbook. Just pure.
He doesn't look big too. Like he plays big. He's very fast. He's very aggressive and physical. But he doesn't like when you look at Hutch, you know Hutch is every bit of 6'5", 265 or whatever he is. This dude kind of has that Aaron
6'4",
Donald like
250.
build. Yeah, he's got that like air, but you don't see that. It's not like an overwhelming like size skip from him.
He's 4 inches taller than Aaron Donald.
Right, but when you look at Aaron Donald, you're not looking at him immediately like, oh my god. You don't realize his strength.
You see those DB skills right there?
Yes,
high point in the football.
Yes.
Look at this tip drill. Those were always fun at the 2-a-days.
That's the kind
and
of
then
player
he turns into a running back. Like he ran a 4.6 at the combine. FYI, like he's not slow either. And this play, I want you to watch the back view of this play because yes, I've watched this video one time already, but watch him. Down the line, outside contain, quarterback back up to the middle. Like, that cannot be any better.
No. This is exactly what you want for a guy you're going to trade up for. Like, he'll be a part of your game plan, but there's some plays where he can just take things over by himself.
Ricky says he's like Jim Schwartz watching Javid Best highlights.
Oh.
I'm assuming that means that he's really excited about these highlights.
Javid was definitely one of them highlight heroes back in the day. Shout out to Javid.
You know what, though? If he stays healthy, that was Will Anderson in coverage, by the way. If Javid Best had stayed healthy, he would have been really good for the Lions and really could have been an impact player.
Yes. Like if I could have took an old school,
this guy plays football.
If I could have took somebody a while ago to play behind like this offensive line or this offense, it would be Javid Best for sure.
Up at the top of your screen. Jeez. He's so fast.
Oh, goodness.
He's so fast.
Imagine that. And then you could potentially still get him some help.
I don't know if you saw that or not, but like legitimately the running back was trying to trip him. He got beat so bad. There's only one way that you trade up to 23 or you trade up 2-3, and it's for that man right there. He's so good. He's the best. I won't even hesitate. I know there's quarterbacks and everybody's in love with the quarterbacks. The quarterbacks this year, their talent may be okay, but they are not Will Anderson.
No.
Which means that the top of the draft is going to be very unpredictable.
Yes.
Because Houston also has 2 first-round picks.
Mm-hmm.
Could they draft him at 2 and pass on one of the quarterbacks?
That would be the ultimate swerve and curveball of this draft. We all sit here thinking, because yes, while Will Anderson is the best player in this draft, we know quarterback is the most valuable position. So teams are going to reach and do whatever they can to think that they get their guy. And from what we see, they love Stroud and Bryce Young at this point. So if that were to be, I could not imagine that being the case. That's when he comes through.
He's not slow, but he's no Von Miller as far as athleticism, as far as Will Anderson goes. I don't know. I mean, his player comp on PFF in their PFF draft guide is Randy Gregory, who played for a minute with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
Will Anderson's not unathletic. That's for sure.
No.
Like I all cards on the table, I'm total like fanboy for Will Anderson at this point. Like, I'm gonna be devastated if he ends up in Arizona or Seattle, where come on, you don't want to wear that ugly uniform.
Yeah, of all teams that could use his services, that could trade up with whoever those 6 teams are, the Lions are the best suited team that can capitalize off having a guy like him without.
But I think you're wrong. I don't think all 6 teams are trading up for Will Anderson. I think 5 of those teams are trading up for a quarterback. One of those teams is trading up for Will Anderson. If the Lions are truly one of the 6 teams looking to trade up with Arizona, I think there's the only one trading up for Will Anderson.
That's true. That's a good point.
Everyone else is trading up for Anthony Richardson, Will Levis, or maybe one of the other 2 if Carolina shocks everybody and takes Anthony Richardson number 1, or Houston takes Will Levis number 2 and CJ Stroud's sitting there at number 3, right?
Yeah.
All those teams, every single one of them is trading up for a quarterback except for the Lions if they're in that mix.
Yeah, and at that point, you would have to just hope that Seattle doesn't take him at that point where they're falling or whoever else is ahead of you.
True
Because it's
teller,
only two
always
teams
just
at this point.
dousing the flames. Says he's
Oh man,
good as
I'm
Will
not sure
Anderson
he's
is.
made
I'm
the
not sure that
premium to
he's
trade
worth a
up. What?
premium trade up. But a premium trade up, like True Teller, what would you consider a premium trade up? Moving
Yeah,
up
who do
3
you want,
spots.
Truth Teller?
Yeah, I am
You don't want
interested in
Jalen
that.
Carter. You
True
don't.
Teller,
You
are one
question
of
Will
the
Anderson.
most.
Who do you want, bro?
You are one of the most loyal commenters on this page
Yes.
over the last
Talk
month.
to us.
We love your interaction. You have been spot on, except for your take on Jalen Carter, which is okay because we will forgive you for having one bad opinion.
Yes. Let that
However,
slide.
True Teller, who do you want? Like you don't like Jalen Carter. We know that. You don't think Will Anderson's worth a premium trade up. And again, it's not a premium trade up. It's giving them 6, maybe 48, and maybe 81. That doesn't include anything you're getting back. Doesn't include any future draft capital as well. And also doesn't include like an Okuda who they could use.
Right.
So
exactly.
It's not like you're amassing or dispelling all of this draft capital to go and get a Will Anderson.
Right.
And the impact that he can have opposite Aiden Hutchinson.
Exactly.
I feel like that's worth it.
That speaks for itself. It speaks for itself. He says it's gonna cost a lot. It's gonna have to cost a lot. You have to be aggressive. If you feel like the Lions have a window to actually win, as we both agree, it's 2 to 3 years at this point. It's not the time to just sit and wait. You have to be aggressive, especially for a player that can make an immediate impact like Will Anderson right now. This isn't a move up for Anthony Richardson. Someone's going to sit.
Saying.
You guys are.
We're competing with the teams that want a quarterback who are going to overpay to get to number 3, which is fine.
Right, that's fine.
Let them overpay to get to number 3 because we're not like Brad's not going to overpay to get to number 3. If he does it within reason, and again, within reason, according to a draft value chart, is pick 6, 48, and 81. Nothing more than that. You don't have to give up 18. In fact, if you gave up 6 and 18, that's an overpay. We don't want to do that.
Yes.
But if you maybe keep 81 and give them Jeff Okuda, who's expendable, and that's probably more than the other teams can offer too.
Exactly. You just hit to it because from what may be overpaying for a different team is not overpaying for you when you have 2 firsts, when you have players that are expendable, when you have 2 seconds, you have extra resources where these aggressive moves are not going to hurt you. These are going to help you. Even if it doesn't work, I don't think that capital that you lost, like let's say Will Anderson is just an average player. I still don't believe that is going to hurt you in the long run because of what you gave up. You had the assets to make it happen. This is the time to be making those kind of deals.
But let's honor True Teller's point. He's not saying that like we have to, like we shouldn't overpay. What he's saying is the cost is going to rise because of what the other teams are going to put forth to get their quarterback. We also don't think that you have it. Yeah, it is. And the Cardinals unluckily earned that right to cause a bidding war because they were terrible last year and they chose to invest in Kyler Murray, which dunked their franchise, which is totally fine. But I just, if you have the opportunity to get Will Anderson, I think you do what you can within reason. Again, within reason.
Yes.
To go get Will Anderson. You know why? Because for the next like decade, you have the 2 potentially best defensive edge rushers in the league.
Yes.
In the league. Like that's a defense to be scared of.
Yes. Having James Houston behind that is like as a rotational player, maybe an outside backer, as you said. See what we just saw from him. No, you just upgraded from that with one of the, to me, the best player in this draft. It's a no-brainer. You go make that deal happen. You do it. So,
and to Ricky's point, he goes, I just don't see the need to be this, like, to be aggressive at this point. Like, Ricky. Yeah, I don't really see this as even aggressive.
I don't either.
It's not like we're saying, okay, you know what? We are going to give you 18, both our second rounds, our third round, and, you know, the rights to my firstborn son. Right? Like, that's not what we're saying. Oh, we have a position that we could use another edge rusher at.
Mm-hmm.
This is the last year that we have this much draft capital to work with. And so instead of taking somebody in the second round and somebody in the third round, who, they could pan out, might not pan out. I mean, they got some rough news on Levi Onwuzurike today. Like, they don't know if he's even going to be ready because he got hurt with the back injury.
Yeah.
Like, there's always these big ifs. I understand that. But one thing that's a pretty certain thing is how good Will Anderson's going to be. Yes. So if you can use the draft capital that you've assembled to then make a move and go get him, that's not a bad idea.
Yes.
And I don't even see it as too aggressive. Huggy Bear. As a pure talent, Bijan Robinson is better than Will Anderson. If they're both available at 6, I'm taking the guy who scores touchdown, and that's King Bijan.
No, Muggy. Or no, Huggy. No, you don't. No, you don't. No. You just signed Monty. I'm totally off on the idea of a Bijan Robinson. To me, it would make zero sense to bring him in. I don't care how talented he is. You just brought in Monty, who's 25 years old, basically a rookie, like similar age to some rookies coming out. You don't go for a Bijan at this point, bro. No.
We have common ground. Trutella, welcome to the dark side.
Hey,
Trutella, welcome to the dark side.
There we go.
Yes.
Get you a glass,
that's all I'm suggesting. Again, not suggesting anything outrageous, I don't think. But I think the value of a Will Anderson is worth the potential 3 players that you would get in that spot.
There's nothing.
The impact that he will have over 5 to 8, even a decade, is worth that to me.
There's nothing I want more than having a defense that can get pressure on a quarterback without blitzing.
No, right.
Having that benefit it's unheard of. It's unbelievable.
It's incredible.
If you can have that, open up space for Rodrigo and Ancelotti and the backers and the DBs to cover freely, you are going to see an unbelievable turn from this defense.
Huggy Bear, I hear you about replacing Swift with Bijan. It would be incredible. A very real chance that it happens at 18. Like, that's not unrealistic either. I don't think Bijan goes top 10. If he does, I think someone overdrafted him.
Yeah.
Especially given how non-valuable the running back position is. Right? I mean, it's on equal value with wide receivers. So, like, you just...
But it's okay. It's not, but it's okay.
I know. I keep baiting you on that, and yet we have still to talk about it, but that's okay. And I get replacing Swift, and you need to replace Swift, but I think that you can replace Swift with a McBride in the 5th round,
yes.
Devin Achini in the 3rd round if you don't trade for Will Anderson. So, like, I hear you. Bijan will be pretty good, but at the same time, with our offensive line, yeah, he'd be outstanding. But you're also not running the ball 30 times a game.
Right. You just saw what this offense did with the running game. And now you just upgraded at the position. You don't need to steroid it and throw Bijan in there just because. You'll be fine without him.
I don't know how to answer this, to be honest with you. If you want my gut reaction, no, I don't.
No, I don't think he is.
I think they're both very, very, very good football players. And Bijan would be an incredible addition, but not at pick 6.
No.
If he's there at 18, I have no problem with it. If you have pick 48 and somehow he's fallen to the 2nd round and you're not running to the podium to draft him, then there's something wrong. But as far as value to your team goes and pure talent, like, I know they were highlights, but the things that Will Anderson does, yes, they were a highlight tape. I get that, but the fundamentals that were evident within that highlight tape were immense.
Yes.
Keeping his hips parallel to the line of scrimmage, not losing outside leverage with that open arm. Like, those are important things.
Yes.
And as far as talent goes, I don't really necessarily want to say one is better than the other, because when you're comparing an edge to a running back, it's really hard to talk about pure football talent because they do 2 completely different things. But no, I'm not.
Yeah. And the value is what's more important than the talent anyway, given the position, because as great as he may be, they're going to give Swift every opportunity they can for him to flourish, not just because he's been here, but let's say they want to deal him. You can't deal him without playing him. So he's going to have to get on the field at some point, and you just paid Monty. So regardless of how great Bijan could be, you're not going to see the full extent of it given the crowded backfield that they have. Like, it's just not going to happen. Will Anderson, you're going to see flourish quickly, I believe, with his position with what they need. Like, I think he's going to be a week 1 starter, and you can see his impact quicker than later.
I mean, both of them will be week 1 starters, depending on where Bijan gets drafted.
Right. If you were the Lions, no, he's not starting week 1. Right. Anybody else, sure. Yeah.
And Ricky hits the nail on the head. Teams have done well with running backs found in the 3rd round.
Absolutely.
So
we can't get one right in the 2nd round either. So let's wait for the 3rd or 4th. I'm fine with that.
I mean, listen. Yeah, I mean, the best ability is availability, and Swift's not good in that category. So
no.
But he's really electric when he is on the field and he gets the ball in his hands. So that's
yes.
I don't know. But listen, Eric, we need to talk to these people about our live draft show. So let's hit that. We know you're excited about the live draft that's going to be happening because we are excited about the live draft. And so make sure that you check out this treat we have for you.
For real, guys. Look, join us for the exclusive 2023 NFL Draft live show with your favorite analysts, AJ, Eric, and Dylan. We'll be breaking down each first-round pick as it happens live on the spot. That's right. We'll be reacting to all the drama, surprises, jaw-dropping moments of this coming NFL Draft.
And just like tonight, we want you to be a part of it. So share your thoughts, your reactions, predict who the Lions are going to take at 3 after they trade up to get Will Anderson in the live comments while we're live that night, and we will interact with you. It's an opportunity, so don't miss it. The chance to get your voice heard with your fellow Detroit Lions fans and your 2 favorite Detroit sports hosts, including Dylan, who will be with us from TikTok.
Yes, indeed. Can't wait to holler at him. So mark your calendars. Do it on your phone right now. Mark your calendars for the 2023 NFL Draft live show on April 27th. April 27th, hosted by Detroit Sports Nation. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single moment of this epic event.
We will see you all there April 27th live. And go Lions. Go trade up for Will Anderson.
Yes.
Listen, let's get to a couple more comments. True Teller says this. I will say this. I'd be excited if Detroit got Anderson. I still have concerns on how the Lions address quarterback with no premium picks. Most likely next year's draft or the year after. I think they still address quarterback this year. And I think that it's going to be someone like Hendon Hooker in the 3rd round or my guy Clayton Tune in the 6th round. I think that at least gives you an opportunity to wait a year and then maybe move up in next year's draft to get Caleb Williams, which would be awesome, even though I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Or, the kid from North Carolina can sling it too. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there's a lot better draft prospects next year than there are this year even. So,
yes, the lucky thing
quarterback's the least of our concerns because literally the Detroit Lions quarterback is plug and play at this point with how good the offense is.
Yes, at this point they're not in a rush where they have to decide on an option for a quarterback. They do need backups, but you can find those at any point. And I mean, they just got Nate Sudfeld back. We'll see what happens with this thing with Teddy Bridgewater. But I agree with you 100%. I don't think they're going to sign Teddy. I think they'll end up drafting somebody in the 3rd or late in the end of the draft.
I think they still sign Teddy.
And keep 4 quarterbacks on the
no, they'll end up cutting Sudfeld or put him on the practice squad.
Out of here. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Jared Goff goes down. Who do you want taking over the offense? Teddy Bridgewater or Nate Sudfeld?
I mean, by default, I'll take Teddy, but I wouldn't be excited about it. But obviously, yeah. I mean, it's a default thing. I'm not saying neither. You're not getting much benefit from either. Like Teddy at this point, I don't think is going to be that great as a backup. He'll be serviceable enough.
He'll be That's what I'm saying. But I don't even think Sudfeld would be serviceable. So Teddy's clearly the better option.
Okay.
And Teddy could go and win you a football game or 2.
Okay.
Because the Lions offense is literally a plug and play offense at this point.
Sure. So it's just a debate of backups at this point. Again, they need to do something. I agree, but I mean,
I 100%
rush
agree
to
with
do
Ricky.
anything
Tyler
about it.
Huntley would be a great pickup.
That would
for
be
them,
great.
but I don't
Yes.
think that he's leaving Baltimore because Baltimore needs him. He's their quarterback right now. So
I don't understand what they're doing.
I don't know. Listen, like we broke down Will Anderson tonight in his highlight tapes, we are going to continue to break down our top 5 prospects for the Detroit Lions in the NFL draft. It'll be live coming at you Thursday night with number 2, and you'll have to tune in to see who that is. We've talked about the Detroit Lions potential trade for number 3. We talked about them talking to Hendon Hooker tomorrow here in Motown. Hendon's going to fall in love with the city because it's easy to fall in love with the city. He's going to hope that the Detroit Lions draft him, and then Brad will do what Brad does and either draft him or not. Doesn't matter, because whoever plays quarterback for the Detroit Lions is literally irrelevant because of our offense being as good as it is.
There you go.
But the key piece is go trade up to get Will Anderson at number 3. That's the conclusion and the theme and the thesis for tonight's show. Will Anderson or bust for the Detroit Lions.
Yes.
This has been Beyond the Box, your favorite Detroit sports show. He's Eric Vincent, your 1A favorite Detroit sports host. I'm AJ Riley, your 1B favorite Detroit sports host. We will be live with you on April 27th, live for the draft. We are excited about that. We will catch you all later.